and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying,
Go ahead.
Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before the Lord, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee.
Now we ain't gonna get all to we ain't gonna get on to what she said. Well, I just tell you, you know. So Jacob told Esau, look, I'm sorry, Isaac told Esau, look, go get me some venison, and you know, and then I'm gonna sit down and eat it, and I'm gonna bless you before I die. The mama heard this. She went back and told Jacob, look, Jacob, I heard your father saying he gonna bless Esau. But, you know, we had kept ready. The blessing was supposed to go on the youngest son anyway. So the mama hooked Jacob up, which was the youngest twin, made him look and smell like Esau. And so here goes Jacob going to get the blessing instead of Esau. Because he's like, no, Mom, I'm not doing it. He's like, look, whatever happens, let it be on me. Let the Lord's punishment be on me, Jacob. So you go on in and you get the blessing instead of Esau. But if we could have read, Esau had already sold the blessing to Jacob. He sold his birthright to Jacob. And the birthright come the blessing. Means the oldest son's supposed to get the birthright and the blessing. He get a double portion of the inheritance. So instead of Esau getting it, he sold it to Jacob. I don't know why people keep saying he stole his blessing, but he sold it to him, didn't he? So now, so we ain't going to read all that, but skip down to verse 18. Skip down to verse 18. Go ahead and read.
And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son?
Now this is Jacob. Because the mama, like I said, dressed Jacob up like Esau and put fur on him and hair on him and everything. And he smelled like Esau. And so Isaac was blind, so he couldn't tell. Well, he knew it wasn't Esau's voice, though. But then he still went on and blessed him, though. But go ahead and read.
And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn.
Go ahead.
I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me.
Go ahead.
And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Behold, because the Lord thy God brought it to me.
Now, so he said, sit down and eat. Jacob telling his father, Isaac, sit down and eat. You know, how you find it so fast? He said, the Lord blessed me. The Lord brought it to me. Skip down to verse 30 and read it.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob.
See, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob. Go ahead.
And Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting.
Now here come Esau now. He the one went out to go get the venison and supposed to bring back to the father originally so the father could eat the venison, right? Because that's who the father told to do it. But the mama said, no, Jacob, you gonna do it and you gonna get the blessing. So Isaac went on and blessed Jacob. Now here come Esau. Skip down to verse 35. Too late. Go ahead.
And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing.
He said, your brother, he came with subtlety, he have taken away your blessing. But Esau had already sold the blessing, though, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob?
Now this Esau talking. He said, is he not rightly called Jacob? Go ahead.
For he have supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright.
Wait a minute now. He sold that birthright for the red pottage, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Not only, well, I ain't going to even go there, but go ahead.
And behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And he said,
what's good is the birthright if you ain't going to get the blessing that come along with it.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead and read.
And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?
Now this is Esau. Now he asking his father, have you not reserved a blessing for me? Go ahead and read.
And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord.
Uh-oh, you see that? He said, I have made him your Lord. Go ahead and read.
And all his brethren have I given to him for servants.
Uh-huh.
And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?
He said, you know, I've already blessed him, so you know what I'm going to do for you now, you know. It's over with. You go ahead and read.
And Esau said unto his father, Have you but one blessing, my father?
Now he putting the bag on. But this is father. He said, have you but one blessing left for me, my father? Go ahead and read.
Bless me, even me also.
Go ahead.
O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Go ahead.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. So he gave him a blessing, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He said, your blessing going to be what? The fatness of the earth. What is it? What is this fatness of the earth? Wealth.
Wealth.
And what's fatter than money? Ain't nothing fatter than that, is it?
No.
He said, your blessing is going to be the fatness of the earth. Go ahead.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Now, we could have read in there that when he blessed Jacob, he gave him the fatness of the earth too. But he took it back from Israel, didn't he? Because he said, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. If you don't, I'm going to curse you. So everything that he gave Israel, he had to take it back from them. Because they fell up under the curses. They wouldn't keep his commandments, right? So now he told Esau, I'm going to give you the fatness of the earth. This is going to be your blessing. The fatness of the earth, which is wealth, ain't it? Go ahead and read.
And by thy sword shalt thou live. And shalt serve thy brother.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that when thou shalt break the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Now we could have read that too, where David was fighting against the Edomites and everything, and they broke that yoke off of their neck that the Lord had put on them with Israel. We could have read that too. But I found something else interesting to read. Now, so he said, your blessing is going to be what? The fatness of the earth. The wealth of the earth. Right? Now let's see what he told Israel. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28th chapter. Let's see what he told the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. So now he gave him the wealth of the earth, right? Esau. Now look at what he told Jacob. See, or the Israelites. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15 first. Go ahead and read it.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Read a little louder.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments, and his statutes which I command thee this day.
Go ahead.
That all these curses shall come upon thee, and overtake thee.
And we know that Israel was cursed. So he said, if you fail to keep these commandments, all these curses going to come upon you. And we go right over to Daniel and read that the curses came upon Israel, right? Now, skip down to verse 43. And let's look at one of these curses. Verse 43. Go ahead and read it.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. And thou shalt come down very low.
Go ahead.
He shall lend to thee.
Now he said he shall lend to thee.
And thou shalt not lend to him.
And thou shalt not lend to him. Go ahead.
He shall be the head. And thou shalt be the tail.
He said this stranger going to come up within thee. He going to get up above thee very high. And thou shalt come down very low, Israel. This is one of the curses. And he said, he shall lend to thee. The stranger, he going to be able to loan to you. But you're not going to be able to loan to him. The stranger could be anybody, couldn't it? Other than Israel, right? Go ahead and read verse 45.
Moreover, All these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
Go ahead.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and statutes which he commanded thee.
You read that verse 46. Go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
Hold it now. He said these curses going to be upon you, Israel, for a sign and for a wonder. For how long though? Go ahead.
And upon thy seed forever.
And upon your seed forever. So Israel, you're not going to be able to loan to the stranger, but the stranger going to be able to loan to you. And this sign or this curse going to be on you forever, Israel. But remember what he gave Esau? What Isaac gave Esau? What blessing he gave him? The fatness of the earth. The wealth of the earth. Now, we're going to read you something here. And I'm not trying to offend nobody. And not trying to talk about nobody. But that one that called himself a Jew, which we know him to be the Edomites. So I'm just going to call him who he is, an Edomite. But he's also called a Jew though, right? So I'm going to call him an Edomite Jew. Now, we're going to read you something here. We don't want to offend nobody. All right? We're going to read you something. This called the Federal Reserve is privately owned. Let's see. This is one of the oldest and largest institutions in the world. In fact, our country interest rates are called by who? The Federal Reserve. Our money is printed by who? Federal Reserves. They say what interest is going to be and what interest is not going to be. They're the ones who lend money to different countries and to the United States even. It's privately owned. This is a private, because it say federal, that don't mean it's government. But go ahead and read though.
The Fed began with approximately 300 people or banks that became owners.
Now you see that? Banks that became owners. It's privately owned. Go ahead and read.
Stockholders purchasing stock at $100 per share. The stock is not publicly traded.
Oh, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. You see that? It's not publicly traded. This stock is not publicly traded. Why? Go ahead.
In the Federal Reserve banking system. They make up an international banking cartel.
Oh, wait a minute now. They make up an international banking cartel. Go ahead.
Of wealth beyond comparison.
This wealth, the ones who started the Federal Reserve is a banking cartel whose wealth is beyond comparison. Beyond comparison. Now we got to find out who this is that started this Federal Reserve. But go ahead and read some more.
The Fed banking system collects billions of dollars in interest annually and distributes the profits to its shareholders.
Ain't that something? Our tax money's going to these people. Go ahead and read though. Who started this Federal Reserve?
Who actually owns the Federal Reserve central banks? The ownership of 12 banks, 12 central banks, is a very well-kept secret.
It's a very well-kept secret. Now, we're not trying to offend nobody. We're just reading the truth around here. Go ahead and read.
But has been revealed. Rothschild's Bank of London.
Rothschild, Bank of London. Who are they? Everybody heard of the family of Rothschilds, but these are Edomite Jews. And this banking cartel, their wealth is beyond comparison. Don't sound like the Jew of the Bible do it. Because the Jews of the Bible, the Israelites of the Bible, the Lord said, the stranger gonna loan to you, but you're not gonna be able to loan to him. But these people, they own one of the largest loaning institutions in the world in history. The Edomite Jews. You see that? Rothschilds, Bank of London. Go ahead and read some more.
Warburg Bank of Hamburg.
Now you know that Warburg, you see that Berg on the end of it, you know that's the Edomite Jew, don't you? Go ahead and read.
Rothschild Bank of Berlin. Lehman Brothers of New York.
Go ahead, Lehman Brothers of New York. These are all Edomite Jews. Esau, in other words, the one he said, that Isaac said, you're going to have the wealth of the earth. That blessing that he gave Esau, the wealth, he still got it today. Go ahead and read, though.
Lazar Brothers of Paris.
Uh-huh.
Kuhn Loeb Bank of New York.
You see that? Kuhn Loeb.
Kuhn Loeb.
Bank of New York. You heard of Loeb Motors? Edomites. Edomite Jews. Esau's descendants. He still got that blessing that Isaac gave to Esau. His descendants getting it now. But he told the children of Israel, people gonna belong to you, the strangers gonna belong to you, but you ain't gonna be able to belong to them. And these curses gonna be upon your seed for how long? Forever. So these people couldn't be the Israelites, could they? But I'm just showing you how it's evidence that the Bible is the Word of God, because these people still have this wealth. Go ahead and read.
Israel Moses Seif Banks of Israel.
you know that's Edomite Jew there. Israel Moses. Go ahead and read.
Goldman Sachs of New York.
Uh-huh.
Warburg Bank of Amsterdam.
Go ahead.
Chase Manhattan Bank of New York.
All of these are the banking cartels that started the Federal Reserve. That's a part of our country. They cause the interest rates not only here, but in other countries too. But you know what? Let's go a little bit deeper. I don't want to go too deep with this because I don't want to get cut off. So y'all, don't cut me off. Turn that page. Go to the next page there. Let's go a little bit. We ain't gonna go too deep with this because we don't want to offend nobody. But let's go a little bit deeper. Go ahead and read that.
The largest media conglomerate today.
Facts of Jewish media control. We just say Jew, but we know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Edomite Jew, because he ain't talking about us, because we don't own nothing. We sure don't own no banks, do we?
No.
If we do, we fronting for somebody else. Go ahead and read.
Facts of Jewish media control. The largest media conglomerate today is Walt Disney Company.
Oh, go ahead.
Whose chairman and CEO, Michael Eisner.
Oh, Michael who?
Eisner.
Now, I read about him, yeah. He part of ABC, Walt Disney, you name it.
Is a Jew.
He a what?
Is a Jew.
He a Jew. Hey man, he went to school and did his thing, then he went to school and did his thing. But I'm just showing you how the Lord said that your blessing, Esau, is going to be the wealth of the earth, or the fatness of the earth. And they got it. Even today, they got it. Now, at one time he was the CEO of Walt Disney. I think he moved on to something else. From like 1989 to 2005, he was the CEO of Walt Disney, the largest media conglomerate in the world. That don't sound like the Jew of the Bible, does it? Go ahead and read. These guys who's at the top of it? Go ahead and read, man. Go ahead.
The Disney Empire, headed by a man described by one media analyst as a control freak, includes several television production companies. Walt Disney Television, Touchstone Television.
Touchstone Tone Pictures. Everybody have seen that before. Touchstone Pictures. They make the movies, don't they? Go ahead and read.
Buena Vista Television.
Skip down there.
ESPN is headed by President and CEO Stephen Borstein, a Jew.
Ooh, you see that? ESPN. If he not heading that, at one time he did. Skip down to the next one.
Time Warner subsidiary.
Hold it now, you Warner Brothers. Everybody, they the one. They own Hollywood, don't they? The Edomites, Jews. They own Hollywood. Warner Brothers. Go ahead and read, though. This is a subsidiary, though. Go ahead. Let's start that over.
Time Warner subsidiary, HBO, is the country's largest pay TV cable network. Warner Music is by far the world's largest record company.
Woo, you see that? It's by far the largest record company. Go ahead and read some more.
With 50 labels.
With 50 labels. Have you ever heard of such thing? It's got 50 labels. But who is it headed by at one time, or even maybe even now? But go ahead and read.
The biggest of which is Warner Brothers Records, headed by Danny Goldberg.
Headed by who? Y'all see that bird on there, don't you? That means the Edomite Jew. You understand? Danny Goldberg, at one time he headed this, didn't he? Now, let's go. We're going to go a little bit deeper. We ain't going to cut you too much, Esau, but go ahead and read that right there.
3 Jewish newspapers. The suppression of competition and the establishment of local monopolies on the dissemination of news.
You see that? Local monopolies, meaning they got reign over this. You understand? They holding it down. Go ahead and read.
On the dissemination of news and opinion have characterized the rise of Jewish control over America's newspapers. The resulting ability of the Jews to use the press as an unopposed instrument of Jewish policy could hardly be better illustrated than by the examples of the nation's 3 most prestigious and influential newspapers. The New York Times.
The New York Times.
The Wall Street Journal.
The Wall Street Journal.
And the Washington Post.
And the Washington Post. Those are the 3 largest newspapers right there, aren't they? Go ahead and read.
These 3 dominating America's financial and political capitals are the newspapers which set the trends and guidelines for nearly all the others.
Ooh, they set the trend and the guidelines for, you ain't gonna print this, you can print that, you can't print this. They set the guidelines and the trends. And then when they print some other newspapers and news articles, they follow after what they wrote. Go ahead and read.
They are the ones which decide what is news and what isn't.
You see that? They're the ones who decide what is news and what isn't. You can print this, no, you can't print that. Okay, you can write this. If you do write that, we're going to fine you. They say what is news and what is not. And all the other newspapers follow after them. Go ahead and read.
At the national and international level.
Ooh, not only at the national level, but at the international level. Notice how you don't never hear nobody say nothing about them, do you? You always hear about something with Ishmael, the Arabs did this, you know, the black man, he did this, got us all the news all the time. But you never hardly hear anything about him being something bad about him. Unless it's blatantly obvious for the whole world to see. But go ahead and read.
They originate the news.
Ooh! They originate the news. Go ahead.
The others merely copy it. And all 3 newspapers are in Jewish hands.
They are what?
In Jewish hands.
I told you, he's going to have the fatness of the earth. We're going to read one more thing right here about the Edomite Jews. One more thing. I could have went deeper with this, but we ain't going to go that deep. Go ahead and read.
Other mass media.
Other mass media. They running it. You hear me? They are running it. Go ahead.
There are only 3 of any note published in the United States. Time, Newsweek, and the U.S. News and World Report.
Go ahead.
Time, with a weekly circulation of 4.1 million, is published by a subsidiary of Time Warner Communications.
And we know who were on Warner Brothers, right? Go ahead.
The CEO of Time Warner Communications, as mentioned above, is Gerald Levin. A Jew.
A Jew. You see this? He's running 3 newspapers. The CEO of Time Warner Communications, as mentioned above, is who? Gerald Levin. A Jew. If he don't own it now, it's something. If he wasn't the CEO now, if he ain't the CEO now, he was at one time. Jewish media control. The Federal Reserve started or founded by the Edomite Jews, Esau's descendants. Just like Isaac told you, gave Esau that blessing, you're going to have the fatness of the earth. He still got it today, don't he? But then he told Israel, people going to loan to you, the stranger going to loan to you, Israel, but you're not going to be able to loan to nobody. Who owned one of the oldest and largest lending institutions in the world? The Edomites. The Edomite Jews. Just like the Bible says. That is evidence that this Bible is true, isn't it? But we ain't going to stop right there. We're going to stop right there with Esau. But we're going to move on, though. We're going to move on. And I'm not tripping on Esau. Because what God gave him, didn't he? Let's go to 1 Samuel, the 2nd chapter. And ain't nothing nobody can do, and ain't nothing nobody can take from him, because God gave it to him. 2 Samuel, the 6th, 1 Samuel 2 and 6. 1 Samuel 2 and 6. 1 Samuel 2 and 6. So this is why I'm not tripping on Esau. Go ahead and read.
The Lord killeth and maketh alive.
Go ahead.
He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor.
The Lord maketh poor.
And maketh rich.
And the Lord maketh rich. He is the one who made Esau or the Edomite Jews rich, didn't he? He the one made us poor too, didn't he? Go ahead and read.
He bringeth low and lifteth up.
Go ahead.
He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes.
Go ahead.
And to make them inherit the throne of
glory.
See,
so he could make a beggar go sit before princes. You understand? Just like he took Joseph, right? Joseph was in the dungeon, right? And the Lord had Pharaoh to sit and get Joseph, and then he made Joseph second in command, the viceroy of all of Egypt. Go ahead and read.
For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set up the world upon them.
See, so I'm not tripping on Esau, the Edomite Jews, how he got all this wealth, because I know who gave it to him. The Lord did, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it but the Lord. Now, let's go and look at something else. Because we're going to get down, we're gonna get in the New Testament too. We ain't going to just show you stuff in the Old Testament. Let's show you stuff in the New Testament too. Let's go to Acts, the 12th chapter. Acts 12. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Acts 12 and 20. Acts 12 and 20. Let's show you something in the New Testament. Acts 12 and 20. Everybody got it? Amen. Go ahead and read.
And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him.
Now this Herod, this is King Agrippa. That's what his name is, Agrippa. But he was a Herod, because Herod, that is like a name that went from Herod the first, Herod the second, Herod the third, on down into the 1st century. Right? So this Herod right here is Herod King Agrippa. Go ahead and read.
But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country.
Go ahead.
And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them.
Now, he had this banquet or whatever, and he had on some royal apparel, and he sat down on his throne. Go ahead.
And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of a God."
They gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of God." Go ahead.
And not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And he was eaten of worms.
And he was eaten of worms. Man, because he didn't say, no, I ain't no God. He went along with it, yeah, And immediately an angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory,
and gave up the ghost.
And he was eating of worms, and he gave up the ghost, didn't he? Now this is around the 1st century, right? So men, there wasn't no problem with men recording things then around the 1st century, right? So this was recorded in history. And this is called The Death of Herod by a guy called O. Wesley Allen Jr. The Death of Herod. Now, this was recorded history. And so Allen just went back and went in antiquities and read about this in history. Now let's read. We're going to read about Agrippa. King Herod, which at this time his name was Agrippa. Go ahead and read.
The story takes place after the completion of Agrippa's 3rd year ruling over all Judea. When he came to Caesarea and participated in a celebration honoring Caesar.
Now we do it like the same time. Go ahead.
On the 2nd day of the festival, Agrippa entered the theater at dawn wearing a garment woven completely of silver.
Hold it now. So now we read about this in verse 21. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of God, and not of man." So at this time, they give it a history, giving you a little bit more on it, isn't he? He said he was arrayed in this garment of silver, right? Go ahead and read.
When the sun reflected on the garment, those in awe of the sight immediately addressed him as a god.
You see that? Now they giving him a little bit more. They giving history, giving you a little bit more of this account, isn't it? They said the sun hit this garment and it shined on him, and they said it is God. Go ahead and read.
And the king did not rebuke them, nor reject their flattery.
See, he didn't rebuke them or reject their flattery. He went along with it. And what happened?
And nor rejected their flattery as being impious.
Go ahead now, down there. Yeah. What happened?
Receiving the flattery, Agrippa saw an owl overhead and recognized.
Hold it now. He saw an owl. The book said, that Bible said he saw an angel. Right? But they say he saw an owl. Now, we know the book is right, don't we? But you see, history recorded it though, right? And they called it an owl. Go ahead.
Agrippa saw an owl overhead and recognized it as a messenger of woes.
He knew what was up, didn't he? He recognized it as a messenger of woe. Something getting ready to happen to me. We go ahead.
As it had once been a messenger of goodwill. Immediately upon seeing the omen, Agrippa felt a stab of pain in his heart.
Hold it now. It said the Lord smote him because he gave him not the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. Go ahead.
And felt a stab of pain in his heart. And intestinal pain that hurt
all over. Intestinal pain that hurt all over. Lord smote him with those worms. Go ahead.
And was intense from the start. His pain continued to increase after he spoke to his flatterers, and he died in his palace after suffering for 5 days.
You see that? Now, history wrote the same thing, but they give a little bit of different account, right? They say it was an owl that he looked up himself, but the book said it was an angel. Then the book said he was smote with worms, and now that book over there, this guy wrote, he said he had a stabbing pain, and it was all over his body. And then 5 days later, he died.
Heartworms.
You understand what I'm saying? That's proof that the Bible is the Word of God, isn't it?
Indeed, brother.
Let's go now. Let's look at something else, because we got to move on. We're going to run out of time here. Let's go to Matthew, the 24th chapter. Matthew 24. Matthew 24, and we're going to pick it up at verse 2. Matthew 24 and 2. Matthew 24 and 2. Everybody got it? Go ahead and read.
And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Go ahead.
And he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world.
Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled.
Now we hear these things are happening now, aren't they? He says, you're going to hear about wars and rumors of war. He said, people going to come saying that he is Christ. He said, don't be, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And that's what's going on right now, isn't it? You even got men saying that they are Christ. You know, one of the guys died. He said he was the Son of God. Well, he died, so where's he at? But in the grave. I mean, I don't want nobody to die or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, though. There was proof that he wasn't the Son of God that's mentioned in the Bible. Go ahead and read. Or Jesus. Go ahead.
For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nations shall rise up against nation,
Go ahead.
and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places.
Now we're going to deal with this in another lesson. We're going to really deal with this in another lesson called the signs of the time. But let's get into where we come from. Skip down to verse 15. Go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place,
Go ahead.
Whoso readeth, let him understand.
See, now if you were just a New Testament Christian, then you ain't going to go back to the Old Testament and find out about this abomination of desolation then, are you? If you're a New Testament Christian. Skip down to verse 21. Go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
He said it's going to be a time of tribulation that has never been before and shall never be again. This has not happened yet, has it?
No.
This has not happened yet. Read verse 22.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved.
Hold it now. How did Jesus know this? You know, back then when he wrote this, they wasn't doing nothing but shooting bow and arrows and throwing spears and stuff. You understand? And catapulting balls and rocks and stuff. Slingshots. How did he know this? Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. How did he know at this time? Now, we're reading this now. Back in the 1st century, Jesus gave you this prophecy, but now it can come to pass now, right? Because man had a weapons and a chemical warfare to destroy this earth 20 times over. But how did Jesus know that man was going to be able to do? Except this is the word of God. How did he know this? Let's go. Now, because he said abomination of desolation, right? Let's go to Daniel, the 11th chapter. Daniel 11. Daniel 11, and we're going to pick it up at verse 36. Daniel 11 and 36. Like I said, we're going to deal with this more in an upcoming lesson. Daniel 36, I'm sorry, Daniel 11 and 36. Go ahead and read.
And the king shall do according to his will.
Now he talking about this king. Now he say he's going to do according to his will.
And he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers.
Now we know who we're talking about right here. You know, if you got any understanding, you know that this is talking about the Pope. Well, go ahead and read.
Nor the desire of women. Nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself
and
above
even scriptures Paul told you over there at Thessalonians, he's going to sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. But like I was just telling brother last night, the Lord is going to have this temple built by the Edomite Jews. And they calling for this temple to be built now. But go ahead and read though.
But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things.
Go ahead.
Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain.
Go ahead. He going to divide the land for gain? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
And at the time of the end shall the king of the south.
Hold it now. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south. Go ahead.
Push at him.
Uh-huh.
And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind.
If you go all the way north, where you go to?
Russia.
Russia, don't you? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
With chariots.
Uh-huh.
And with horsemen. And with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. Go
ahead. Now he talking about the European common market, and he talking about what? Russia and China. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
He shall enter also into the glorious land.
Well, what's the glorious land? That's Zion. Jerusalem, man. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And many countries shall be overthrown.
Uh-huh.
But these shall escape out of his hand.
Go ahead.
Even Edom.
Hold it now. I thought Edom was done away with. Hold it. If he said, and these she gonna enter into the glorious land, and these gonna escape out of his hand, even Edom. Mm-hmm. So where's Edom sitting at then? Right there in Jerusalem.
Yep.
And who else he said?
And Moab.
They sitting right there too. Go ahead and read. This is Israel's twin brother, the Edomites. You know, the one that's got all the wealth of the earth, the fatness of the land, the fatness of the earth. The Edomites. They sit right there in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
And the chief of the children of Ammon.
Uh-huh.
He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape.
Go ahead.
But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt.
And over all the precious things of Egypt. Go ahead and read.
And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps.
Hold it now. He said, but he shall have power over the treasure of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his step. Meaning he coming for them now. Right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and read.
But tidings out of the east and out of the north.
Hold it now. But tidings out of the east and in the north. Who are these tidings from the east and the north? That's Russia and China. You go east, where you go? China. You go north, where you go? Russia. Tidings out of the east and the north. Go ahead.
Shall trouble him.
Uh-huh.
Therefore he shall go forth with a great fury to destroy, and utterly to make away many.
Go ahead.
And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas. In the glorious holy mountain.
Hold it now. So, you know, just like I tried to tell a brother last night, oh, they're not gonna build no temple. What did it just say right here? And he shall plant the tabernacle of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountains. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And what's gonna happen to him when he do that though? After 3.5 years. We're gonna deal with that though, but go ahead.
Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him.
Right there. He going to come to his end right there when he plant his palace there. And after 3.5 years, the Lord is going to do away with him. Not 7-year tribulation, but 3.5 years of tribulation. But you see that though? He said, tidings of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Let's move on. Because remember, we did get started a little bit later. So, we're going to get done on time. So, but anyway, let's go to Isaiah the 13th chapter. And let's see this war for a minute. Isaiah 13. Isaiah the 13th chapter. And we're going to pick it up because all the prophets, they know about this. Mm-hmm. Isaiah 13, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 13 and 1. Like I said, we're going to be dealing with this more in depth in a future lesson called The Signs of the Times. Isaiah 13 and 1. Go ahead and read.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon...
The burden of Babylon. We ain't talking about Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon. This is Babylon the Great, the new Babylon. Right? Go ahead and read.
Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones.
You see what he called them? He called them his sanctified ones. Who is he talking about? Go ahead.
I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains.
He said a noise of a multitude in the mountains. Go ahead.
Like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together.
Go ahead.
The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
Oh, so we're looking at a war getting ready to take place then, right? The kingdom of nations. We're looking at what? World War III. Great tribulations getting ready to happen. Go ahead and read.
They come from.
Look who's doing it though. The Lord mustereth up the host of the battle. He is the one who's doing this. Go ahead and read. He got the nations getting ready to fight. Go ahead and read.
They come from a far country. From the end of heaven.
Hold it now. You see what he called countries? Heaven. He called this earth. He just called this earth heaven, didn't he? He said they come from a far country, even from the end of heaven. Go ahead.
Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation.
Oh, so these his weapons are his indignation? He is the one who's doing this? And man don't even realize it. You know, you got a little North Korea. They flexing over there, ain't they? Half their country starving, then half the country living all right. But now they got these little weapons over there. Well, I ain't gonna say little because they getting these nuclear weapons now. Just like some of the other nations. Everybody flexing now, right? They muscles. You know, I'm bad. But the Lord had that written too. But go ahead and read.
To destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand.
This is the day of the Lord. Go ahead.
It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
It's coming from as a destruction from the. Because what? He said the Lord is coming and he will not tarry, right? Wait on him because he coming. But when he come, this is what's going to happen before he come. Just before he come, he going to have the nations fighting against each other. Let's go to Joel, the 2nd chapter, and pick this up again. Joel, the 2nd chapter. I remember we did. I was going to cut this, but we did get started a little bit late. So we ain't going to cut it. Let's keep moving. Joel 2. Joel 2 and 1. Joel 2 and 1. Let's pick this up again. Joel 2 and 1. Because just like he put that spirit on Cyrus to rebuild the temple, told the Jews to rebuild the temple, he put this spirit on this man now to fight. Go ahead and read.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble.
Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness, and a day of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness.
Go ahead.
As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong.
You see that? He said, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people, just like we just got to read in Isaiah. A noise of a multitude in the mountains, right? Go ahead and read.
There have not been ever the like.
You see that? He said, these people right here, these people that come together, there has not been ever the like. I'm going to show you how many people it was, though. Or how many people it's going to be, I should say. Because this is talking future right here, ain't it? Go ahead and read.
Neither shall be any more after it.
And they ain't going to, just like the Lord told you in Matthew, it's going to be a time that has never been before and shall never be again. Just like this, the people that's going to be assembled together to fight. It ain't going to be a likeness like this, hasn't been a likeness like this before, and it ain't going to be again. Go ahead and read.
Even to the years of many generations.